Okay, welcome back. We're on part 5 of this series from a recording that I did for July 22nd, 2022. So I rewound a few seconds. So here we start going again to finish this up. Well, finish 5 up anyway. I don't even know why it didn't even dawn on me until now, after all this time. Anyway, that's my frustration. Please ignore the frustration part of it. But yeah, when my mom came in, when the doorknob was in the process of being turned, it's like the lights in the room shut completely off. Whatever that bright light was outside, completely, it was gone. Just utterly gone. And yet, I was going to call her a feline. Oh my God, so wrong. I am too tired. The female reptilian, I was trying to say female, not feline. The female reptilian was still in the room. So the second my mom turned that doorknob was when the light went out in the room. And Mom and I were not sitting in the dark, because I was sitting up in bed. I wasn't laying down in bed. I was sitting in bed. I didn't even have the sheets with blankets on me. On that, I just remembered. I'm looking more at the memory now, and that's just a trip and a half to me. Anyway, I'm at 16 minutes, and there's a little bit more left to this story, so I'm going to continue the story, but just an FYI. Bright white light in the room. The second my mom went to turn the handle of my bedroom door, because my bedroom door was closed, that white light disappeared. The ET was still in the room, and when my mom walked in, she flipped the light on, and sat down on the bed and was just trying to hold me and rock me as I screamed bloody murder, screamed my head off. So, yeah, anyhow, here we go with the rest of this story, hopefully. Able to see spirit. It cut off a lot of psychic ability that I had building, and that was budding, B-U-D-D-I-N-G, budding in me. So that made things difficult. I still was able to sense things and be an empath and hear spirit. Okay, I'm pausing it again because, yeah, this was such a traumatic experience for me that it shut a lot of my psychic abilities down. A lot of things that I was able to do with the ETs, and with me on my own, not realizing, because there were certain things that I wasn't allowed to remember, and there were many things that I was allowed to remember. But because I was so terrified and so frightened of seeing this ET in the safety of my own room, of my own house, it shut a lot of things down. A lot of, as I said, budding abilities that were in the process of starting to grow and become more predominant. A lot of that was shut down because of this experience. We used to have a spirit in that house that even my grandmother used to tell my mom. She'd say my mom's name, and then she'd say, "There's spooks in the house. There's ghosts in this house." And she was right. It's because going to pause it there. We're going to come back to whatever the next part is. I'm losing track. I'm getting too tired. But this was why I was so frightened, and why it severely, the fright of seeing this specific ET in my bedroom, in my safe environment, what was supposed to be my safe environment. Why this one incident terrified me so badly as a child that it literally stunted my some of my extra senses, extra sense perception. So anyhow, that said, we're going to hit pause or stop, and we will come back. I hope you continue for the last video. Thank you. Okay, so oh, such a sad face over that look. Goodness sake. I did want to clarify something regarding the what I said about my grandmother. I want to clarify a couple of things. I never was told the story about the newlyweds who had bought the house before my mother and my grandfather bought it. I wasn't told that story until I was about 14. I want to say 13, 14, 15, but I think it was just before my 14th birthday. Or just after it. It is one of the two. So, yeah, that was quite a shock. It made a lot more sense as to why my grandmother was reacting to it. At the time, my grandmother had come to live with my mom and I because she was having health issues and could not be living on her own. And my mom thought she was going crazy. But because I knew about the woman in the rocking chair, my grandmother and I would talk about it. And she would continue to tell me, shh, we don't talk about those things. And I would say, Grandma, but you're talking about it. You're saying over and over again to Mom that there's spooks in the house. There's spooks in the house. We've got to get out of this house. There are spooks in this house. And that was how she grew up. That was how her phrasing was spooks. It wasn't ghosts, it was spooks. And to her, spooks were bad. Bad, bad, bad. It's like bad juju. I remember that phrase at some point in my childhood while she was alive. And it was I remember conversations that I overheard between my grandmother and her sister. And there were, which my cousins probably are not going to like hearing that, but there were things that were going on in that house that truly terrified her, but they shouldn't have. If she had allowed her own abilities to come to fruition, it would not have scared her, because the spirit, the female spirit that was in that house, was very kind and very gentle. And when I say that she sang me to sleep every night, she did. And I personally believe that had to do with the fact that she was witnessing me being abducted. And there were many times where I did not want to go with the ETs. I remember that feeling. And I remember being so thankful for that spirit who would sit on the edge of my bed and sing me to sleep and tell me it was okay. That meant a lot. Did not mean to start the tear thing again. Anyway, Um, it was a big deal. She was very gentle and very kind. It was a little frightening, or well, not frightening, a little freaky deaky, with hearing her singing in the basement. You knew anything about that basement, you would understand why, but that's beside the point. Um, with the rocking chair, because the way the rockers of the rocking chair would hit the cement, um, in a very specific way. And what I didn't know, until I was, God, about 19, was that my mom had said that what was one of the first things they moved in, that newlywed couple had moved in, was a freaking rocking chair. So that validated a bunch of stuff. And I hadn't even told mom at that point in my life of what I had heard and what grandma was saying, because grandma had pretty much instilled in me, we don't talk about these things. Okay, we're at 14:22. I'm going to pause this and we will get to the next video. Thank you for sticking with me. Talk to you in a minute.